All right, good Tuesday afternoon. Hope everyone's having a nice start to your day, maybe a good lunch break as well. We're still dealing with hot and humid conditions across the region, and that's going to be the story for the next couple of days with low chances of rain continuing for this afternoon. We're talking about a 20% chance at best, and that is going to factor into just how hot it is outside. And that dangerous heat is really what we're dealing with today. That's why a heat advisory has been issued. Before that, I do want to point out there is a few very spotty pop-up light rain showers already in southwest Mississippi and some folks in the Pine Belt as well. That is going to be possible for us today just because of the amount of moisture and humidity in the air, but again, it is so hot that a lot of that is not going to make it to the ground and really impact many of us. There'll be few and far between if you do see a stray shower. Temperature-wise, we're at 92 already in Jackson and in Natchez, 91 in Macomb, 93 in Durant as well, 94 for folks in Rolling Fork. We're feeling closer to 107 though in Yazoo City, feeling like 109 in Rolling Fork, 100 degrees is what it feels like in Macomb, 103 in Jackson. We're not too far from that heat advisory criteria, and that's why, again, that heat advisory has been in place since 10 a.m. and it will stay in place until 7 p.m. Some of us already surpassing that. Again, at 105, that's when we start to really get in on that dangerous heat and humidity as well. Temperatures will top out in the middle 90s today across the region, 92 in Yazoo City, 93 in Brookhaven, but in Jackson we're talking about highs in the middle 90s. So certainly feeling like mid-July, but remember to stay hydrated. Remember those heat safety tips. Always look before you lock and wear the appropriate clothing. That means light colored, loose fitted clothing. Again, that heat advisory is in place today and for Wednesday, much of the daylight hours from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Notice those heat indices are going to be very oppressive and uncomfortable today, Wednesday, and Thursday. We do start to see some lower heat indices by Friday and Saturday, but that does not come with any nicer changes besides the fact that our temperatures will be a little bit lower because rain is on the way. With greater chances of rain, of course, temperatures go down, but our humidity is not going down. We're going to talk about why that is in just a few minutes, but I do want to time out your next immediate forecast for us, the next 48 hours for Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. Spotty stray showers are to be expected in the afternoon, very isolated though, a 20% chance, 30% at best, and those fizzle out once the sun goes down. We'll see the same thing on your Wednesday, but by Thursday night and Thursday afternoon, that chance of rain is going up just a bit. As that area of low pressure begins to track to the west, it's going to bring that tropical moisture in our direction, and it's also going to bring us a better chance of rain. We're talking about a 60% chance of rain, so still not an area-wide washout, but depending on how far west and how far north that low pressure system goes, that will depend on how much rain we pick up here in central and in south Mississippi. I am expecting the higher amounts of rainfall to be really confined to South Mississippi and even coastal Mississippi and coastal Louisiana. You can see those reds and pinks and even purples are really confined to our southernmost areas. If you're as far north as the Delta, you may be talking and looking at half an inch of rainfall, but some folks further south need to watch out for some heavy rain. That will be likely a concern as we get into Friday and Saturday. You can see this high pressure that was in control. It's going to begin to push on out of here thanks to this low pressure that's moving and tracking west across the Florida Peninsula. That's going to move closer to our neck of the woods, bringing in that tropical moisture. And we're talking very, very humid conditions, but also the moisture is going to bring us better chances of rain and also some pockets of heavy rain, so we could be seeing some ponding on the road, some puddling, and some areas of localized flash flooding as well. Again, especially the further south you are. This is still, there's a lot of question marks within this system. Notice there's no currently named storm out in the Atlantic Basin, so there's been a lot of chatter and a lot of talk about hurricanes and tropical storm. There's no definite answer there's going to be a hurricane or a tropical storm. My best guess with model consensus as of most recently, I'm thinking potentially a short-lived tropical depression or a low-end tropical storm. And the next name on the list is Dexter. So if it does continue to intensify and organize, that would get the name Dexter. But still, the National Hurricane Center has kept it at a medium 40% chance of becoming a tropical system over the next 2 to 7 days. Again, it's going to move over land, and then it is going to move into the very warm waters of the northern Gulf of America, and that's something that we are going to watch for. That's an element that does typically lead to some rapid intensification when the waters are so warm, not only at the surface but also in the lower levels of the water there in the Gulf. So that's something we're watching. There's also low wind shear, so we could see some quick development, but we're going to have to closely watch this and watch the model guidances. Notice our temperatures across the Gulf are very, very warm, 88 for that sea surface temperature. Now, this is what we have as our latest model guidance for spaghetti plot models. The consensus, again, is moving over the Florida Peninsula and heading towards coastal Louisiana, eventually bringing that heavier rainfall to parts of Arkansas and even as far north as the Memphis metro, so the mid-south. But the heaviest of rain, I believe, is going to be closer to the coast. We're watching this closely, again, for any tropical development. One thing for certain is we're going to get in on a decent amount of rainfall if you live in our southern counties. And what is another thing on our radar, on our watch, is where exactly this does make landfall, because that will determine if we have to deal with the threat for spin-up tornadoes and damaging winds. And again, flash flooding, we are still under at least a slight risk for that. By Friday and Saturday, most of the region is under a level 2 out of 4 risk for some localized flash flooding. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Just keep checking back for more updates. The closer we get to Friday, we will have all the updates that you need. I am checking for any questions. Hopefully we've got a few viewers this afternoon, but if you have any questions, again, just leave it in the comments and we can get back to you. But until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a great rest.